your eyes up, don't get all tied up. Hoping you wise up the multiple lies of the multifaceted, multi-complex system of living that people are living. Stuck in inertia, that's a diversion. Government worship, instead we are searching ancient mysteries, ancient history, sacred energy, and how to discern it. Human autonomy, truth of philosophy, UFOlogy, human psychopathy, super anomalies, human ecology, Yuga lobotomies up in your consciousness. All the thoughts that we've been dancing around. The system wants to blow your candle out, but we won't let it. We reject it with our pathetic lies, so we chant it down.
Chant It Down podcast is your gateway to your unraveling of a complex system that is graphical with the lives of you and everyone you know. Come untangle from this woven web to understand this crazy world. Chant It Down with your host, Loomis.
Welcome back to Chant It Down. I'm your host, Loomis. This is Chant It Down Radio. ChantItDownRadio.com is the website, and this is episode 224. Welcome back. This is my first live stream in a while, and haven't done many live streams at all, really, for the 10 years on this podcast. But today, I want to continue what I promised, and that is giving you a live stream about once a month. And today, if things work out correctly, I might actually be able to take callers. So hopefully that you can hear me on the mic here. There we go. I apologize about that. So yeah, this episode today, we are going to hopefully take callers a little bit later, and I'll give out the call-in number. I think things are going to work out okay. A little bit of interference here, but I am on YouTube Live and Twitch. I didn't extend things to other platforms. They were locking me out. It was a really weird setup this morning, but well, I will announce when we do the call-ins, so I'll put the number on the screen when that happens. This is episode 224, fully automated nightmare. So welcome again, and today we're going to be, going over something that's kind of big in our lives, and as usual, and so we're going to do that today. But today, I'm going to go over with you a few slides. And if you're listening just on the audio, it's okay. You can always check this video out later, and I'll explain some things as I put them up, because I know this podcast has always been an audio kind of thing. So I've never really been big on giving you as much of visuals. So I want to still keep that alive for you. But today's show is a quick little talk I put together in replacement of a guest cancellation. So it's kind of a hopefully not too much of a rush job for you, but it's an important talk at the same time. And mostly this is to give you a call-in show today, because I really wanted to do this since way back when I did Blog Talk Radio. This is what I want to give you again. I want to give you all these things on Chant It Down. Makes it more of a great listen. There will be no taboo topics whenever you want to. Whatever you want to talk about, it's all on the table when you call in if you want. And if you want to comment on what I'm about to talk about, that's fine too, but it doesn't have to be related to the talk I give today. So I'll give the call-in number. I'm not sure how it works with a queue in this setup I'm having. This is a very strange setup I got going on here. So we'll see what happens. It's experimental. I've never heard of anyone using it before, and I'm definitely not tech savvy, as you probably noticed. But I will give that call out number toward the end. So there. And if this works, this will be a new turn for Chant It Down. This will be like that extra thing that we can have. I want to have conversation with you listeners. So I do want to hear what you guys have to say. I love to give you variety on these shows, and sometimes I like covering empowering things, mysteries, off-world stuff. I like to cover, uh, all kinds of things. And sometimes it's all about being on the battlefront and becoming aware of the ugly things the elites are doing. Sometimes this show is about showing you what time it is. And if you didn't know, we are in the times that many prophecies, not just biblical, talk about. Our civilization is in the rotting stage, and it's always been the same. Civilizations say it's all good, nothing to worry about, right before they collapse. And well, I'd say civilization is definitely in its rotting stage. Showing you a tent here that has spray painted on a homeless tent $5 butt stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much that's bottom of the barrel. That's worse than living in a van down by the river. Okay. But so meanwhile, we are waiting in the filth of a dying and manipulated society. That's more what it is. It didn't have to be dying if we didn't lose values and stuff. But on my recent talk, What Happened to Cobalt Blue Skies, which was my talk about chemtrails, I went over on that. I talked about a detailed show. I covered something that is happening in the background of our lives. And again, it is the case with this as well. Not that we shouldn't be focusing on all of the legislation put in place to lock us down better next time, or the train derailments that have happened recently, or the objects shot down, or the Nord Stream pipeline. But those are kind of distractions, if you ask me. But you have also plenty of shows out there that are covering these things. So you don't really have to come to me. I've never been a news guy, never will be. So I'm just not into, doing that. So, but no matter what happens in the foreground, those other themes, the other things that I've been kind of saying, like chemtrails and stuff, seem to be marching forward and have been. Just like when they put up the 5G infrastructure while you were locked down, and so another thing that's happening is we are quickly marching toward a cashless society. And it is happening really just like so incremental, but it's obviously happening, like you can see it, I can see it, everybody can see it, but it's like we're in slow motion, and we're not people don't know what they're doing. Like they're trying to fight. It's like they're trying to punch someone in a dream. We can't do anything about it kind of feeling, but it is our world is fastly being formed into a cashless tyranny, one that is not really being fought, but the walls are closing in fast on this. And I recently had what sparked this topic. I was going to do the show actually a long time ago, and like I said, a guest canceled, and here I am, and so I'm just giving you a live stream for the hell of it. So but this is something that was a bit premeditated, because it wasn't too long ago I had bank card fraud, and I got my card locked by my bank. And it was something that I bought. Like, it was actually something I did, but I bought it international, and it flagged my stupid ass bank, and so they locked my card. Everything that this card was tied to got cut off. It got shut off. So I've never been much of a bank guy. I use cash where most people don't. But over the years, I suppose I've gotten a bit lazy. I get, we all do, okay? And I realized that my card was attached to more than I realized. I didn't realize that it was attached to certain things. And the bank was closed. This was a holiday weekend. So I had very little cash. So the bank was closed, and I was screwed. So I was like, and then it dawned on me, this is what it would be like to have a cashless society. And they shut off your card. or your chip, or quantum dot tattoo connected to blockchain technology in your arm, the mark of the beast. And yes, to me, this is where Bible prophecy is spot on, in my opinion, because as you can see, we're on the path to going there. I mean, I don't think that's too arguable. That's where they want to take it. But that little story is what it would be like to get shut off. You'd be screwed, you know? You'd be totally screwed. You're a turtle on its back. You can't pay for anything. Your car insurance canceled. Everything attached to is late, so you get late fees or shut off. Your internet shut off. You wouldn't have any freedom at all, and you would no longer make a dime without being taxed by the government. And so you would be in tech jail, you know, Facebook jail, nothing. I mean, that's just one part of the equation. So that's what it would be like. There's no humanity in a completely automated world. There's no humanity in a world where you don't talk to a human. And I've talked about this before, and that's what's pissed me off about how the world operates these days is people don't talk to a human. Just visit our website. You know, I don't want to look at your fucking website to find something. Nobody does. We don't want to. Sorry, we don't want to look at your website. You know, I just want the answer, the simple answer. You know, what if it falls out of the normal way of doing things, you know? So I don't think a lot of people like this stuff, but we go along with it. And I don't want to go through all the prompts just to speak to a human either. I don't want to wait a long time. Nobody does, you know, but we put up with it. And I've said this all before, but I think I'm in the age group on the cusp of being either fully immersed into this or not too keen on it. You know, my generation remembers time before the internet, what life was like when everything was more manual and not as digital and just more like simplistic and less time on any screen. So, I'm an 80s kid, so I guess I'm Generation X. I think I figured that out. Sometimes I think I'm Generation Y. I don't know what. I think I'm X, but okay. A lot of age groups younger than me are more used to it, and were raised and even trained in school and society to accept it. But I encourage you not to accept it. You won't like the end game either. I mean, I think one thing that we need to be fighting back on is this takeover. I really do. I think that this is what we should do. You know, is this what you want in the world? I really don't think that you want this in the world. I don't think anybody does. And it may seem like a hard fight because it's the direction the world is going. But who's dictating that direction? Well, not us. But we are being too compliant and letting it happen. You know, for one thing, the technology we use is allowing it, you know, and one of the things they're planning in the future, and we've discussed this before, is self-vaccination by Band-Aid. Now, I couldn't find the video that I wanted, so here's some homework for you. It's called NutriSense.io. Unfortunately, I got locked out of my Instagram on this computer, and it was an ad on Instagram, and I'd really love to share it with you on here, but it's not letting me. So, I wanted to show this, but basically what it is this little patch, and you put it in your arm and you twist, and you always have these happy ladies like, it's going to hurt a little bit. Like, oh, it didn't hurt that much. So, but they twist these little needles into them, and it's attached to their body, so they know when all their health issues, like, not just like the steps you take, because your phone can do that, but it was like, what you put in your body. And it helps you stay fit. And the funny thing was, see, I wanted to show you this video. It was a girl eating French fries. She was good looking, blonde girl, eating French fries, not fat at all. But healthy people don't do that. And that was the whole thing about the pandemic, is it was never coming from health. It was, you notice that it was never coming from health. So that's how I knew immediately that if this isn't what they're saying it is. And I'm on YouTube, so I got to be a little bit careful. But this is entrainment for the Band-Aids that they want to produce that have little micro needles that mimic a viper bite, and you just put it on you, and that's how you get your next dose. And so that's entrainment, and they make it look so good in these ads. It's so happy and everything. But let's look at the real people that actually have this patch on, and that's what they're leading you up to with this. It's this slow incrementalism we have to pay attention to, and it's always the case, so I used to like Apple computers. Actually, I'm on an Apple computer right now, but I used to think that they were a great workhorse. They were like you could do pretty much anything on them. I had a Mac G4, and it had so many ports. It had something for everything. You could pretty much just plug your regular old TV into it. You could plug a phone into. You could plug just about everything in there. You remember all these ports, these different things, and it was useful. You could use it for many different things, and I liked it. I could record DVDs. I know DVDs are outdated, but I could record CDs, and it worked great. And that was how before I did Chin It Down, I would, pass out DVDs to people. And that was some of my activism, was passing out DVDs to people that I made out of YouTube videos. I downloaded YouTube videos. Remember when you could do that and make a CD or a DVD of like a mixed tape back in the day, and then you could give it to people and hopefully woke them up. Did it? Well, a lot of people that I gave it to, they never watched, but now Mac has it down to basically like no ports. They took out the USB port. They took away the headphone jack on the phones, and I think the computers too. So that means you have to buy the wireless ones, and so many people own those now. And yes, I see the convenience, but they're not good for you. And notice that they didn't ask you if you wanted the headphones or any of these ports gone. They never asked you. They just took it away. And so that's an important point, is that's what they do. They lead the way, and you follow along with this tech madness. When I was in London, this was just, was it October? I was in London, and I got out cash. And because if I don't get out cash, I get bank fees when I purchase something, because I'm international. So I got out cash to hope to, pay for things. Well, here's the problem. Everywhere I went, it's like no cash. So I was kind of screwed. And so all I wanted to do, I was in the business district of London. I was the actual city of London, which is an entity of its own, as you probably know, just like DC and Vatican and all that. So I needed a bottle of water, and I couldn't find a single place that I could pay cash with. And finally I did, but it took forever, and it really pissed me off, because every place I went, I was like, hey, wait, why don't you take cash? This is currency. Shouldn't you just take it? They use the COVID scare, as a way to make places cashless, and they never went back using it since. And they went to QR codes everywhere. And this is something I'm really hating lately. Another thing is menus and paper pamphlets. Now it's the QR code. You go to a restaurant, just scan the QR code. You want to know our dinner menu? Just scan here. You want a map of this amusement park? Just scan here. What if you don't want a phone? What if you don't want it on you? What if you just want to, take a break from your phone? So same thing after COVID. They stopped giving out menus and pamphlets because of a flu, and now it's over, and they never went back. So same thing, they never stopped. They never stopping taking cash. They just kept up businesses like, oh, we're cashless. Starbucks says they're cashless in some places. Don't drink Starbucks anyway. I think it's full of crap, and I think their coffee's shit, and I think it's acidic, and it's probably eating a hole in your intestines, and who knows what else, So another thing is everybody's, going paperless. Big news. We've gone paperless. So now you can't, get anything in the mail, Well, I mean, many companies have gone paperless. We've gone paperless. But is that really a good thing? Yeah, okay. I like to save the trees, and but how much really is that saving the trees? And another thing, so it's just this thing, this way, so you're on a screen more and more. So you can't use your you can't just use a piece of paper and fish it out of your pocket or whatever. I know I'm old school that way, but that's the thing. It's like they're in training you to always be on a screen, and they want us using apps like Uber or Uber Eats. That they want us to use these things that are so convenient, or Turo or Airbnb and all these things, these apps. And yes, I use some of them. I have to admit I do. And it's like, well, I participate a little bit in this too. They seem innocent at first, but this is where social crediting comes in. You can rate your host, you can rate your driver, you can rate your food, they can rate you, and also everything is tracked. So now they know what you had for dinner. We know exactly where you stayed in your Airbnb on Maui, Mr. Brown. We know exactly where you drove in your Turo electric car, Mr. Brown. We know exactly what food you had delivered, Mr. Brown. And we can see what kind of person you are, Mr. Brown. And you're ranked low. We're not letting you stay in the Airbnb because you posted something on Instagram and it was offensive. Mr. Brown, you're not going to get any food delivered. Sorry. That's where it's going. It is. And you can see where that can go. As innocent as these things are, they're all like lures, just like fish. You're not up to date with your vaccines, Mr. Brown. All services are suspended till you update yourself. You got to get the next booster. I know I'm on YouTube, but oh well. Anyway, Uber had, that's right. So I remember using Uber. It wasn't even that long ago, probably a year ago. They had a section in their app for a while that said vaccines. And I should have took a screenshot of it to put it on here, but and now it's gone. But don't think they won't bring that back in some form, whether it's a vaccine or some type of pass or something that you need to have in order to go everywhere. So we have to look at it too from the angle of how they design this world. So you have a phone on you at all times, whether you like it or not. So it may seem more insignificant. All this I've talked about today so far, it may seem more insignificant compared to the multitude of problems in our lives. It might seem a little bit like, less of a problem, but I swear it's worth fighting for. It's worth fighting against all of this, So I wanted to show you, a video here. This is a Amazon video the first Amazon store. Let's see here. And this video here. So got someone going through the store. All they show is their phone. You know, they got what they picked out what they need and they just walk out. Amazon Go. Amazon Go has no checkout lines or registers. Walk in. The Amazon store is located near Seattle, right there at Amazon's campus. Walks right out. Doesn't have to pay for anything. And it's that nice happy music. They sell prepared foods and grocery staples. There's also a small selection of beer and wine. And so you just go in, scan your phone, go out. I mean, it looks like you're shoplifting. There she is. She's going to put it in her bag, but she already ticked it on her phone, and now she's going to walk out. You use the Amazon Go app to enter the store, put that phone in your pocket, and then walk out. Here's how the entire process works. Got what you want, scan it. QR code to get in the door. What if you don't have a phone? What if you don't want a phone? Anything you pick up is added to your virtual cart. Simple. Any items you put back will automatically be removed from your cart. You want that delicious yogurt and that delicious chocolate milk? Once you finish shopping, you can walk right out. It's so convenient. You need to go to this Amazon store. It's so easy. Everybody's looking at their phones. No cashier needed. Your Amazon account will automatically be charged. No need for cash. But how does Amazon make sure no one steals anything? Amazon Go uses cameras and high-tech sensors. Is that good for you? A combination of cameras and sensors keep track of where the items are located. However, the technology isn't perfect. That's amazing, as some YouTubers have proven. I never got this far last time. Let's see. Currently, Seattle is Amazon Go's pilot location. They have one in London too. Scan your card, your phone. Come on in. We'll walk in and walk out stores. The future of retail? I would say so. But who's pushing this future? Big tech. There. All right. Well, anyway, you get it. So, so there we go. So, yeah, I'm telling you that they make it look real easy. They make it look real simple, but it's not what you want. It's definitely not what you want. And in a perfect world, not run by psychopaths who hate us and have a plan to manipulate us, hey, this might be convenient. I mean, just like Uber, just like Airbnb, just like Turo, just like all these things, these scooters you can take anywhere, yeah, but this is all under that same sort of thing. You'll own nothing and be happy kind of thing. This is the start of it anyway. Technology could maybe be used for good in making our lives easier, but the people behind this are not here for our good. And I think most people are starting to wake up to that now. So you don't want to go their direction. That's the thing. And of course, you don't want machines to take over people's thinking. People often think that if we get this and that taken care of by machines, that we'll have so much less to worry about. We'll be freed up for our time and not have to think anymore. And I mean, yes, I'd rather have a washing machine than wash my clothes in a river. Yeah, okay, sure. But the problem with this line of thinking is that we think that if we don't have to think anymore and let machines run everything, that we'll meet some type of utopia. And it's just the wrong direction and the wrong line of thinking. We're meant to think in this world, and we're especially meant to think for ourselves. Getting out of it and letting machines do the rest is not advancing. It's leaving our responsibilities away. And so I want to share with you that. But let's get back to a cashless society. I mean, it's actually fairly simple to try to beat this if enough of us could. We need to start paying cash for everything. I mean, cash, your check at the bank, I suppose, maybe leave what you need in there for the purpose of things that get automatically withdrawn, although I think limit that very much so. But then take the rest cash, so you can go pay with things for cash. Just keep cash flowing everywhere. I mean, there is a solution. Keep it going. Keep cash flowing everywhere and pay with cash. Pass it on. It could be that simple. And also, I mean, we're not tracked on what you spend your money on when you do that, and the government has no record of it. So why not? I know it's probably hopeless, and you're probably thinking the same thing on trying to convert systemites into this type of thinking, and there's more of them than us, but it's still worth it. I think. And let's remember too that we are gaining more and more people all the time on this side of the fence. More and more people are starting to see that this isn't right. And from whatever doorway you came in, it all makes sense as you piece things together. If we stop complying with things, the controllers won't get what they want. I mean, it really is that simple. So I saw the World Economic Forum was top of the list when I looked up cashless society for this show. And of course they are. They want it the most. I mean, these are the people pushing this. Well, some and others too, but think tanks of all sorts. And this is one thing they say. They say cashless technologies could be some of our greatest assets in the fight against corruption and organized crime too. And you just think about, like, they are the organized crime. They are the pinnacle of organized crime. Like the Italian mafia, street gangs, that's nothing compared to these guys. These are horrible, horrible people. They're the world's worst people. So we need something to fight against the corruption of their organized crime. I mean, they are leading this world in the direction along with all their friends. So I wanted to share with you too. I wanted to share with you so these Reddit posts. So I was just kind of like curious a little bit about this. And so here, a cashless, this is people talking about a cashless society. I just screenshotted. A cashless society could help cut down on crime. No cash would make it harder for criminals to sell drugs and stolen goods, etc., as all their transactions would be traceable by the police. I can't see any downside to a cashless society whatsoever. I don't care if someone can track my transactions, as I don't do anything dodgy. Oh dear. People are fucking morons. Okay, they're fucking morons. And millennials were further pushed through and indoctrinated into this system more than my generation and previous. And I believe a lot of the people I was reading on these were probably millennials or younger. And they've been through a deeper brainwash. They've been pushed through more entrainment. And of course, I mean, okay, and I'm excluding all the great podcasters and true speakers out there that are millennials. But what I'm saying is that every generation, even my generation, is more dumbed down than the one that are older than me. every generation is ratcheted worse because, don't worry, there's lots of retards from my generation too, definitely. But here's another one. Haven't handled cash since 2017. Never had any issues. Older generations still in cash, but millennials changed the way we shop, and it's way more convenient than loose change weighing you down. Apple Pay changed my life forever. And when I read that kind of stuff, I go, is there hope? Like these are people that don't see any problem in this, but I'm telling you, it is a problem. It's a huge problem, as we've already discussed and continue to. There's just a certain layer deeper that millennials were succumb to that allows this sort of tech these intrusions on our lives that previous generations didn't get. And I see a lot of people paying with their phone or smartwatch, and these things they always these are red flags to me when I see people doing that, because these people are so easily going for a cashless society. It's not even an issue to them. And I almost feel like, even on this show, although I know all of you do listen and you are aware of this, that even this seems insignificant, but it's not, and it's happening very quickly. I was happy to find out that the African American communities use cash a lot, and there's not that many people who sign up for bank accounts. And I think that side of things needs to really be pushing a bigger voice out there, especially against all these things coming out. I know there's a lot of people that have been tricked in a lot of the inner city communities, that have been tricked into kind of thinking a lot of these leftist narratives, and it's not just. And again, if you're first time listening to me, I'm not a right winger whatsoever. I believe in right and wrong. That's it. So there's, but I wish that more minority voices were out there screaming from the rooftops about the real important issues. So I encourage my African American audience to, start talking about this. You don't want cash, and you don't want cash taken away. Cash is important. Another thing they are getting you entrained on is this, and this is something I noticed when we, especially heavy during the COVID times, is the green check mark. And it all seems innocent, right? It all seems just like, oh, whatever, right? It's just real. But what it is it's you're verified. And it was this way with the COVID tests, because I traveled during COVID, so I actually had to have my nose raped. It sucked, but they used COVID as an excuse to roll out all of this tech and the way they want things to be. So you'll see this on everything. You get into your account of some sort, it's green check mark. Or in the case of today, I got locked out of 2 accounts just trying to make this show. See, it's all so fucked up. I really hate it. Because like I say, I wanted to share with you a few videos on Instagram, and I got locked out of the account on this computer. So I'm just irritated anyway today with that. So it's just, this is where everything's going. Green, you're good. Oh, red. Oh, you're denial. It's an active denial system. This whole thing is an active denial system. It's for you to be locked out if you're not going to comply with these things. And it's happening now. I mean, it really is now, not yesterday, not in the future. It's now, right now it's happening, and it's continuing. And they want everyone to have these electric cars. They want everyone to be plugged into these machines to have your car, and which are a scam for people to think that they're saving the earth. I mean, you're supporting digging rare earth elements out of mining out of the earth, okay, for these elements for the battery and other things, and cranking up the electric grid by using these things, using more power. And the batteries are terrible for the environment. They don't biodegrade. And not to mention the fires from the batteries. We're seeing that a lot lately. And I've noticed, especially with these Tesla cars, it seems like to me, these are more tech dependent people. They're always fucking up in traffic because they got a screen the size of this computer in their fucking laptop. I mean, their Tesla, and they're looking at that and relying on that, and they're always like in and out of lanes, or if I go by them, they're surprised. You know, I mean, we have some dumb drivers here, okay, but still, I think that they're worse. Anything that's more tech dependent, less human, and taking away your instincts is not good. I can see this as that is a perfect trap. If they want you in 15-minute cities, and I just said on an interview today, in fact, that 15-minute cities are a distraction. They need a seriously like depopulated world for these, you know, but they don't want you to leave, and so in theory, they can disable your electric car anyway, you know, and they can track with you with your phone, and you'll have your digital ID. So no more fun road trips, you know. And let me say that the world is a long way though from these 15-minute cities, and I think it's a bit of a cul-de-sac to keep us conspiracy-minded people focused on. I mean, yes, they kind of happening, but they got a long ways to go, you know. But for right now, we're all here, and it won't work. I mean, our cities are not that organized. So, but you have your phone on you all the time, and they want it on you at all times for all the uses in society. I knew it was going this way when I saw homeless people with them. When I saw Aboriginals in Australia with them that were out in places that didn't have even Wi-Fi or service, but they were entranced. I knew they wanted the world. When they made iPhones all colorful back for kids, like they wanted it was like iPhone 5C, I think I remember, and they wanted kid. Obviously, they want everybody to have one of these. And that's a trap. The internet is a trap as well. Yes, there's amazing benefits. Here I am talking to you on this show, or listening later on the show. And there's amazing benefits of having all of the information in the world at your fingertips. And you know, but it's called the net. It's a net. It's there to catch you. Or the web. You're trapped in the spider web. It's a trap. It is a trap. And it's there to capture you. Just like Disney captures your imagination, they're capturing everything about you. It's a trap. And either way you look at it, you're trapped from this trap. Or are you online? Just like a fish on a hook, you're on the line. They've lured you in. Me too. So I'm not saying I'm above anyone, but who gave you the internet? Who gave you this technology? DARPA. DARPA gave you this technology. DARPA gave you this technology, and DARPA is the same people that developed the technology of the clot shots, and this is their technology. And we have to remember that evil gave us the internet. Yes, all these things are good. They're fun. They're, you know, yeah. The Uber, yeah, or Airbnb and all these things. But when you get locked out of your account, this is all set up. It's a trap. You know, everything starts out innocent at first. If they made it evil, you wouldn't be drawn toward it. Just like that good movie you saw, but it had a bunch of weaponization in it. You know, you liked it. It was good, but well, they don't make good movies anymore. But yeah, you know, like they trap you in that way, and now they can hook the fish. You get to play with our technology till you become addicted, and then we just hook you like a fish. You know, right now you don't need an ID to get on the internet, but but you know that's where it's going. You know it's going there, and we don't have to. You know, we don't have say in internet freedom. We don't even have say in who's going to be president or politics. Not that I hate politics anyway, but if big tech decides to do something like make you have an internet ID, you can't vote it out. You can't get rid of it, you know? You have no choice. Just like when they took out the headphone jack on the iPhone. You didn't ask for that. They did it. They did it. So as much as I want to promote encouragement and hope on this show, which I always like to, okay? We have to realize that this is incrementally coming at us, and it has been the whole time. You know, we have to look at long periods of time as a plan, because that's how they lure you in. They play the long game. Notice the word incremental. You can almost make out the word criminal in incremental. That's who uses incremental is criminals, masterminds. So you're probably thinking, well, what can I do? You know, and it's hard because we're at the will of the masses, and in some ways, we're forced to adapt. And maybe we have to do different things. You know, in the past, things like underground ways of commerce and trade happen when governments clamp down, and you know, even like when you had like prohibition for alcohol, you know, you had, you know, people bootleg, you know, you had people making moonshine or whatever. But this is a little bit different because they're locking you out of society. But there's always loopholes around the system. I've always found my way somehow through this society in loopholes. You know, we have to think jujitsu like. We have to kind of twist like a pretzel, and judo like too. You know, ways to get out of chokeholds, and ways to use the system's energy and momentum. So to our momentum. So, you know, again, if we show if we stop using their advances in tech and take a stand, they can't do shit if enough of us do it, you know. And the revolution will never be televised. They're starting to become a lot of us, right? So, but they're not going to show what we're doing. They're not going to show the momentum of, you know, what we're doing, of course. But you wouldn't know watching the media is what I'm trying to say. But if we don't win this tech battle, I mean, then you got to think of alternatives. And although I don't have any like straight on hand, because they kind of made society this way, you know, you almost have to like leave civilization in a sense. I mean, if you want, you know, not to participate in this anymore. And of course we all will, until they do something to where we can't even get in a grocery store, like it was just a little over a year ago. I was locked out of almost everything except grocery stores. But once they go to that, which they want to, I'm sure, then we have to have contingency plans. I mean, maybe someday I'll have to record a month's shows on a thumb drive and mail them out, physically mail them out to all of you. Who knows? That maybe that's where podcasts like these go, if they really want to try to pull some shit. But, you know, because they do say that they want to have a cyber attack by 2025. I mean, they didn't say they do, but they said there's going to be, and it's pretty much for certain. Well, the people who are saying that's exactly what they're going to do. So you got to wonder if they're going to want us to have some kind of ID to get on the internet. You know, it's coming. You know, what will you do if the world goes cashless? You got to ask, what would you do? Right now is a crazy time because we're just coming back off of even crazier times. It's kind of like a calming period, you know? And what we went through on this planet the last 3 years was madness. You know, 3 years to slow the spread. I still see people wearing masks every day, all the time. It's unbelievable. But things calmed off a lot, but not really. It's like they calmed off a lot, but we have this semi-quiet period, but the levels of madness are still so high, you know? And don't let these times right now, lull you to sleep, you know, because that's easy to do. And it appears that there's some sort of, like right now, it appears that there's some kind of clandestine war happening on American soil, but maybe it's the world. Because of all these train derailments and all these fires to food plants and stuff. And a question to ask too is all this distraction, is it really real? I don't know. But you have to remember that we have to remember what World War III would really look like, um, weaponry. I mean, remember that that explosion in Beirut about maybe it was 2020, that huge explosion, or the Ukraine situation, or weather weaponry, and I don't think we're getting the light on the world at all, really. We know pieces, but even Hurricane Katrina was part of this, possibly too, and that this has been happening for a while. You got to wonder, like, we can't think of the world as nations anymore, because if you notice, pretty much every nation was on the same page when stuff happened 3 years ago, and people who were not were killed. Like the president of Tanzania had a heart attack because he said he didn't believe in the scam, right? But I know this is conjecture, but World War III would look like earthquakes, harpquakes, weather weaponry, totally different than boots on the ground. We have to think weather weapons, earthquake machines, space-based weapons, millimeter wave frequency, and most importantly, it's a war against the truth and the people, and that's what we're up against at this particular time in our lives too. And so we coming off the back of a really crazy time, and we really have to kind of sit back and really look at this situation. Well, I want to see. So I think this was kind of an odd time I did this broadcast. Um, but I want to see if I can try having callers. So what I'm going to do is so the live stream here, if you're listening live, um, I want, I don't know if my voice is going to come through when I try taking calls or not. And I have no way of really knowing. So I think it's going to work, but I'm going to do a few adjustments here. Then I'm going to flash the number on the screen, and let's test this out, because this might be the new way of doing things here on Chan It Down. I hope it is. Um, and Yeah, let me know if you want to call in the chat. Not too many of you listening today. Like I said, this is kind of a last minute thing. Guest canceled, and I just put it together in a couple of days here. But let me do a couple of arrangements here, and let's just see what happens when I do all this. So hold on for a sec, and we'll
woke it all tied up, hoping you wise up the multiple lies of the multifaceted, multi-complex system of living that people are living. Stuck in inertia, that's a diversion. Government worship, instead we are searching ancient mysteries, ancient history, sacred energy, and how to discern it. Human autonomy, truth and philosophy, UFOlogy, human psychopathy, super anomalies, human ecology, you got lobotomies up in your consciousness. All the thoughts that we've been dancing around. The system wants to blow your candle out, but we won't let it. We reject it with our pathetic lies, so we chant it down.